The annual Tech Gala glittered with champagne and ambition. On stage, Edward Vance raised a glass beside his son Thomas.
Tonight, I am proud to announce that the visionary behind our flagship app is my son, Thomas Vance.
Thank you, Dad. This app was my passion project, and seeing it change the industry has been a dream.
The crowd erupted in applause. In the sea of clapping hands, only one person remained perfectly still.
They're toasting him for my code. Every late night, every debugging hell, and he gets the glory.
She raised her champagne glass with a cool, unbothered smile, but her knuckles whitened around the stem.
But I am not surprised. I've been invisible in this family since the day I wrote the first line of that app.
Behind the mask, her thumb hovered over her phone, a message already composed. The screen glowed with a single word. Tonight, the recipient. Evelyn Cross. Jessica pressed send. The room celebrated a lie while she quietly set a long-planned trap into motion. But the glittering gala was only the final move in a game Jessica had started playing 5 years earlier. In a cramped back office, long after the building was empty, she refined the code that would one day power the company's flagship app.
Still at it, Jess? No one's going to notice. Come grab a drink.
He has no idea this code will be worth more than his entire career.
Jessica, be a dear and get me some coffee. Black, 2 sugars.
He didn't even glance at my screen. To him, I am just the coffee girl.
After he left, Jessica stared at the door, then saved her work and faced her own reflection.
They'll never credit me. I'll have to credit myself. The idea was terrifying, but staying invisible was worse.
That night, the blueprint for the gala's trap was drawn in silence and determination. 2 years later, the app's missing piece clicked into place. Jessica rushed to share it with her father, but his office was not a welcoming place for her ambitions.
This is it. The feature that will change everything. Maybe now he'll finally look at me.
Not now, Jessica. Thomas and I are late for a golf game. We'll discuss it next week.
He walked away without a backward glance, and her hope curdled into a familiar, cold resolve.
User retention is through the roof. The board thinks the app is my genius.
His genius. He can't write a line of code, but Dad just nods along like it's the truth.
We're so proud of you, Thomas. This family finally has something to celebrate.
After dinner, Jessica excused herself and pulled out a business card she'd held onto for months. It was time.
Evelyn Cross. This is Jessica Vance. I need to discuss protecting some intellectual property.
The call was brief, but it set the next stage of her plan into motion. Her family had no idea what was coming. A week later, Jessica sat across from Evelyn Cross in her orderly law office, laying out the app's core architecture.
You built this entirely on your own time, without a written assignment from the company. That's critical.
They never asked me to build it. They barely knew I was in the building.
Then, the law is clear. We can file the patent in your name alone. No one else will have a claim.
This will burn every bridge I have with my family. But those bridges were never real anyway.
She took a breath, then signed the patent application with a steady hand, sealing her invisible fortress. Weeks later, she filed the final documents at the patent office herself, not trusting anyone else with the secret.
All those late nights, all that invisible work, now legally mine, and they don't even know it exists.
Stepping out into the afternoon sun, she allowed herself a small, private smile. The trap was set. She locked the filing receipt in a folder marked personal, knowing that one day it would be the key to her family's empire. Back at the gala, Thomas Vance stepped up to the microphone, the room already primed to adore him.
This app was my vision, built on the values my father taught me. Thank you, Dad, for never doubting me.
The room erupted in applause. Near the edge of the crowd, Jessica clapped slowly, her eyes like shards of ice.
He can't even define the algorithm, but he can sure take a bow for it. No more.
Her hand slid into her clutch, finding the phone that held a pre-written message to her lawyer.
One word, and the past 5 years of silence end.
She typed now and pressed send. The screen confirmed delivery to Evelyn Cross. The message was simple. Now. The quiet trigger for a trap, years in the making.
Let the celebration continue. By the end of tonight, this company will know who built it.
The gala swirled on, oblivious, but the legal machinery Jessica had set in motion years ago was now unstoppable. Miles from the gala, in a quiet law office, Evelyn Cross's phone lit up with a single word from her client.
That word, now, had been years coming. She didn't hesitate.
She pulled a slim leather portfolio from her locked drawer, its contents as sharp as a blade. Inside, the licensing agreement and a certified copy of the patent registration, all in Jessica Vance's name.
One perfectly legal document that will shift an empire.
She dialed Jessica, the phone pressed to her ear with the calm of a chess master.
I am on my way. Remember, you own it all. They're about to learn what that means.
She ended the call and rose, the portfolio tucked under her arm like a weapon. Her stride was unhurried but unstoppable as she left the office, the click of her heels echoing in the empty hallway. The gala would never see her coming, but in minutes, she'd be at the door. Across the ballroom, a cluster of investors spoke in low tones, their words carrying more weight than any toast.
The entire funding round hinges on the IP being solid. If there's any question about who owns the app we walk, the company's valuation rests entirely on that code. Without airtight ownership, it's a house of cards.
Jessica, passing by a marble column, froze. She was close enough to hear every word.
They have no idea the IP isn't the company's at all. It's mine, and they just told me when to use it.
Her hand drifted to her clutch, where a slim folder contained her personal copy of the patent filing.
The moment that patent surfaces, their deal dies. They've just handed me the perfect timing.
We need to see the documentation before we sign. No exceptions.
Evelyn will be here any minute. Then they'll get their documentation.
Jessica allowed herself a small sip of champagne, her smile sharp as a blade. The gala was about to get very interesting. Jessica slipped away from the crowd into a quiet service corridor, the party's glitter fading behind her.
The investors are ready to bolt the second the IP isn't airtight. That's exactly my leverage.
She pulled out her phone and dialed Evelyn, her voice barely above a whisper.
Evelyn, the investors just confirmed the deal dies without solid IP. When you hand over that letter, the boardroom will collapse.
I am 5 minutes away. I'll deliver the letter the moment I walk in. Stand by.
I'll be ready. Just get here.
She ended the call, then turned to a gilded mirror. The woman staring back was calm and utterly unshaken.
Years of silence. And now I am minutes away from turning everything upside down.
Her hand smoothed the emerald fabric, a final ritual before the storm. Then she stepped back into the ballroom, her smile as sharp as ever, her secret locked and loaded. Edward Vance retook the stage, his voice booming with fresh triumph.
Thanks to Thomas's groundbreaking app, I am thrilled to announce a new $50 million funding round.
This is just the beginning. We're going to change the world.
The room erupted in applause. Jessica's hands remained at her sides, her smile a flat line.
50 million built on my silence. They'll applaud anything he says.
Across the ballroom, the grand double doors swung open, and Evelyn Cross stepped inside, a leather portfolio clutched under one arm. Her sharp eyes scanned the room, cataloging faces, not yet drawing attention. She paused for a moment, as if calibrating the precise second to strike. Jessica's head turned, and their eyes met. A silent understanding passed between them. Jessica gave an almost imperceptible nod. Evelyn began her slow, deliberate walk toward the stage. Nearby, Thomas basked in a circle of admirers, his laugh carrying over the champagne chatter.
Honestly, the app just flowed out of me. It's all about instinct, you know?
Claire Vance glided toward Jessica, her practiced smile firmly in place.
Aren't you proud of your brother, Jessica? It's his night.
His night. She has no idea what's about to hit them. Yes, it certainly is his night.
The double meaning hung in the air. Claire's smile flickered, a thread of confusion crossing her eyes. Across the room, Evelyn Cross was now only feet from the stage, her leather portfolio a quiet threat.
Every step she takes is a year of my work finally recognized.
The band played on. The champagne flowed, and no one in the Vance Empire saw the reckoning coming. Evelyn Cross stepped onto the stage, her heels echoing like a judge's gavel.
Mr. Vance, I am Evelyn Cross. I represent your daughter, Jessica. This is a notice that the core technology of your app is patented solely in the name of Jessica Vance.
She extended the certified letter, the Vance Empire's foundation crumbling in a single sheet of paper. Edward Vance took it, his eyes scanning the words, his face losing all color. Thomas's laughter across the room died abruptly, but Jessica's eyes never left her father. A licensing agreement is required for any continued use of the technology.
There it is. The bomb I planted years ago, finally detonated.
The ballroom fell into a stunned, spreading silence. Spreading silence. All eyes turned to the stage.
You handed him my work. Now watch him choke on it.
Thomas ripped the letter from his father's hand, his face twisting with rage.
This is insane. She can't just claim the app. It's the company's property.
Edward turned toward Jessica, his voice a mixture of confusion and authority.
Jessica, what is the meaning of this?
Jessica stepped forward, the crowd parting before her as if she were a queen.
The meaning, Dad. Is that the app you just gave to Thomas? I built it, every line of code, and I patented it years ago.
She pulled a certified copy from her clutch and held it high, her cold smile cutting through the silence.
The patent is registered in my name alone. The company has been using my property without a license.
You waited until tonight to humiliate us. You are trying to destroy everything our family built.
They wanted a show. Now they have one.
You are sabotaging your own family for what? Revenge? You'll destroy the company.
Jessica didn't flinch. Her voice cut through his outburst like a scalpel.
I waited because you would never have admitted the truth. I gave you every chance to mention my name tonight.
Claire Vance rushed to her husband's side, her face pale, her whisper frantic.
Edward, do something. She's making a scene. The investors are watching.
Edward's eyes stayed locked on Jessica. The letter in his hand seemed to weigh 1,000 pounds. His lips moved, but no sound came. A lifetime of dismissal was being dragged into the light.
You could have corrected him at any moment, Dad, but you never did. He's finally seeing me. But it's not pride in his eyes, it's fear.
The silence stretched, the chasm in the Vance family now visible to every guest. From the ring of stunned onlookers, Graham Hayes stepped forward, his voice cutting through the thick silence.
Is it true? Does your company not own the IP?
Edward's mouth opened, but no words came. He looked at Jessica, who stood immovable.
No, Mr. Hayes. I own the patent. The company has been using my invention without a license.
Graham's face hardened. He exchanged a grim look with the other investors, then turned back to Edward.
Then our investment is off the table. We can't touch this.
He turned on his heel. A ripple of movement followed as several investors fell in behind him. The cluster of money and influence moved toward the exit, their departure a slow-motion disaster for the Vance Empire. Jessica watched them go, her expression unchanged. Her father looked like a man who had just had his chest torn open.
The deal is dead. Now they have no choice but to hear me.
Edward Vance, the man who had just seen his empire crumble, stepped toward his daughter, his voice cracking.
Jessica, we can work this out. You are still family.
Jessica's expression didn't soften. It was a mask of cold, immutable certainty.
Family. You gave my app to Thomas without a second thought. Now, you'll listen to my terms.
She let the silence stretch, the room hanging on her next breath. Thomas gathered himself to speak. But before a single word could leave his lips, Edward raised a trembling hand. Thomas, mouth open, swallowed his protest. His father's authority, for once, was turned against him. Jessica's gaze swept to the room. She had not just the stage, but the entire gala. Now they all would hear. The Empire sat on her permission. Jessica's voice cut through the silence, each word a hammer blow on the edifice of the Vance Empire.
1. The company will sign a licensing agreement and pay me a competitive royalty. 2. I will have a seat on the board, with veto power over any IP decisions. And 3. Thomas Vance will make a public statement tonight, correcting his claim of being the creator. He is not. I am the sole inventor.
A collective inhale rippled through the room as Thomas's face twisted with uncontainable fury.
I will never.
But before he could finish, Edward's hand clamped onto his arm with surprising force, silencing him. Edward's hollow, desperate eyes met his daughter's. The weight of the ultimatum was absolute.
He knows there's no way out but through me.
Thomas's jaw clenched. The muscles in his neck corded as he fought the urge to explode, but Edward's grip on his arm only tightened.
I will not stand here and let her destroy everything I've built on her lies.
You will.
The words cracked through the silence like a judge's gavel, and Thomas flinched as if struck. Edward turned to Jessica, his eyes pleading for a mercy he had never given her.
If we agree to your terms, the board seat, the public correction, you'll sign the license and save what's left of this company.
I will.
Edward's hand trembled, but his voice was steady with the resignation of a captain abandoning ship.
Then do it. Tell them. Now.
He pointed a shaking finger to the microphone, and Thomas's face drained of all color. The order was absolute, and the whole room leaned in to witness the fall. Thomas walked to the microphone like a man to his own execution, his entire world unraveling with every step.
I need to correct an earlier statement. The app was not solely my creation. My sister, Jessica Vance, built the core technology.
He stepped back from the podium, his face a mask of humiliation, the crowd's murmur a soft wave of disbelief.
He finally said it. 5 years of silence, broken by the truth.
Edward stood frozen, his last shred of pride dismantled, then turned to Jessica with the desperation of a drowning man.
Now, the agreement. Please.
Evelyn Cross stepped forward, producing the licensing document and a pen from her leather portfolio, the machinery of justice. The room watched the exchange, as if witnessing a coronation in reverse, the crown passing from the father to the daughter he'd ignored.
The terms are as stated, Mr. Vance. Just a signature.
Edward took the pen, his hand trembling so violently. The signature looked like a plea for mercy. Then Jessica signed, her hand steady and sure, a signature that marked not surrender, but conquest. Evelyn stamped the document, the sound echoing like a final nail in a coffin. Graham Hayes caught the eyes of the other investors and gave a single, deliberate nod.
We'll renegotiate under the new structure.
Edward collapsed against the table, his body a canvas of defeat. Claire turned away, her face ashen. Thomas stood rigid and apart, his earlier bravado, a distant memory, replaced by a hollow, shamed silence. With deliberate calm, Jessica folded her copy of the agreement and slid it into her clutch, the final piece of her long game secured. Then, without a backward glance at her shattered family, she turned toward the exit. The gala's hollow music played on, but for the Vance family, the party was over. Jessica walked through the ballroom, the crowd parting before her like water before a ship. Some guests stared with a new, wary respect. Others whispered behind their hands. Claire Vance stretched out a hand, a silent, desperate plea. Jessica did not even slow. At the grand doors she paused and looked back, the entire ballroom frozen in her wake. On the stage, Edward and Thomas stood like statues, the forgotten champagne still untouched on the podium.
They gave me this stage by ignoring me for years. Now it's their tomb.
Her expression was cool, but a flicker of something ancient and final crossed her eyes. A door closing, not an opening. Then she turned, and the heavy doors swung shut behind her, severing the last tether. Inside, the Vance family remained frozen in the wreckage of their lie, the applause of the evening now a distant, hollow echo. The empire had changed hands, and its former rulers were left with nothing but each other's hollow company. Outside the Gala, beneath the glittering facade, a black car waited like a silent promise. Jessica reached for the handle, the cool metal grounding her, after the storm inside. The door closed with a soft thud, sealing her away from the empire she had just claimed. The Gala building glowed in the window, a magnificent cage from which she had finally freed herself. She pulled out her phone, the screen already lit with a message from Evelyn. The message read, "It's done. The patent stands. You are safe." Jessica stared at the words, and for the first time that night her carefully constructed mask slipped. Just a fraction, a single tear welled at the corner of her eye, a silent testament to the cost of this victory. She blinked it back, and her expression hardened once more into the steel the world would now know.
It's done. But what have I really won?
The car glided through the city, the Gala's distant lights shrinking in the rear window. The opulence and betrayal of the evening were now just another chapter, closing softly behind her.
He said it was Thomas's night, but every night from now on is mine.
The thought settled over her, and the tension she had worn all evening finally began to dissolve. A quiet, genuine smile bloomed, the first real one of the evening, unguarded and free. She held it, not for anyone else, but as proof to herself that the long silence was broken. The Gala receded, swallowed by the cityscape, its glitter now a cold memory she no longer needed. Ahead, the road stretched open, a future unwritten, but finally unmuzzled. The city lights blurred as the car carried her away, leaving behind not just a building, but a lifetime of invisible labor. And in the quiet of the car, Jessica Vance smiled, the real, earned smile of a woman who had finally taken back her name.